And I'll tell you one other guy, not a rookie. And I have been downplaying this the entire camp because it's like, yeah, all right. Tyquan Thornton might have been the best player on their offense in practice when I was there.
Yeah.
He was annihilating people to the point you're like, what?
It's that football show here on KC Sports Network. Tucker Franklin hanging out with Matt Verderame on this Friday edition of that football show. Thank you to our sponsors, Ben Holiday, Bottled and Bond Bourbon, Holiday Distillery, for helping making this show possible. I'm super stoked about Holiday Distillery and Ben Holiday, Bottled and Bond Bourbon because our Tacos and Bourbon Golf Tournament is right around the corner on August the 18th. I think we might have one or two teams left. You can check the link in the description. Go to givebutter.com/KCSN Golf. But I always get to hang out with those folks at the fine folks at Holiday Distillery. They're out there. And Matt, you had the opportunity to get your eyes on the Chiefs. You were in Kansas City. We met in person. We got to hang out in person, share a couple brewskis. How are things now that you are back at the homestead?
Things are good. Today was the first day in 2 days. We have to drive 7 hours each way, so that's a win.
Incredible.
Driving through Iowa is just, it's hell. It's hell.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people listening to the show in Iowa. I'm going to tell you guys something straight up. Not going to pull any punches. I don't know how in God's name you do it. You drive through Iowa, and it is just a field for hours on it. I mean, there's nothing. Now, sure, there are some really fun towns. I'm not saying there aren't. But man,
we haven't found them yet.
That's right. They are unlocated, and I gotta tell you, like the coolest thing in Iowa when you're driving through is the I-80 truck stop. And they're like, world's largest truck stop. If that's your claim to fame, it's not great. So,
sure.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I've never driven faster in my life, but I had a great time in Kansas City. We went out to KC Beer on Tuesday night. And hung out. We met up. Joshua Briscoe was there, which, listen, no night is perfect. And then we ran into a bunch of people who liked the show and listen to my podcast. And so it was great. It was great. We had a great time. And then, went up to St. Joe on Wednesday, and the skies opened up. So after about 40 minutes outside, 45 minutes, we went indoors for what I understand is the first time they went inside in like 2 years.
Really? Probably since Najee Johnson got hurt, truthfully.
That's the last time they went in there. And then, ironically, Najee Johnson was scheduled to talk to us after the practice, just complete happenstance.
Uh-huh.
And somebody asked him, like, were you thinking about that? And he kind of, like, sidestepped it. But you could kind of tell by the bio. He was definitely thinking about it. But thankfully, he's good. But, yeah, I mean, they went in, they practiced. Practice probably lasted about 2:15, something like that. Mm-hmm. It was cool. I will say fans unfortunately missed one of the more ridiculous highlights I've seen out of Mahomes, where they're near like midfield in an 11-on-11 drill. I don't think it was a long drill. I think it was the drill before that. And he was scrambling out to his right, and he threw the ball behind his back about 15 yards downfield and hit Kareem Hunt in the hands in stride. And it was unbelievable. Like, it wasn't one of these, like, the play's over, I'm going to flip it. He was going like full tilt and just wailed this thing behind his back. And it was perfect. There's not a quarterback on the Colts who could have hit the guy in the hands, like stationary, throwing it normally better than it. Like the whole team was like, it was just like, it made me think, I was like, if he really had to do this in a game, he could do it.
Wow.
It was a pretty tight window. And he just launched this thing on a line behind his back right to Kareem Hunt. Okay. So that was the highlight of the day that unfortunately nobody but like the 100 people in that building saw.
That's insane. And I think you probably could stop that. The Colts don't, or there's no quarterback on the Colts. You peeled at the end of that sentence. You could have.
I should know better. I really, this is why I need an editor.
That's true. Fair enough. But no, I'm excited to hear. Obviously, that's a huge part of what you saw at Chiefs training camp. But you did get it. You can kind of say an exclusive look at the Chiefs just because there weren't a ton of there weren't fans to see half of a practice. That was like a pretty gnarly storm too, if I remember correctly. Like there was a lot of wind involved as well. I think it came down from Omaha and from the Nebraskas down, but golly, I saw some video, I think, from KSHB 41 that they had out there. Like the wind was howling and there's like people running around trying to get stuff back up
It
to
was
like
chaos.
the indoor practice facility. Insane. But outside of like Mahomes playing really well, there's a really good column in the Kansas City Star from Sam McDowell that I read about how Patrick Mahomes has been the best player at camp, but we just don't talk about it because, well, it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Outside of Patrick Mahomes just doing the most obscene things that you've ever seen in your life and then it being normal, what did you take away from the practice?
The rest of the team's terrible. No, the rest of the team won't even bother.
Yeah.
So the day I was there, by the way, after this, we have to hit an audible because there's a source off going on Twitter that
No way.
That's going to be unbelievable. But in any event,
I closed Twitter. That's why I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's a source off, and it's the odd three-way source off.
Okay, you let me do some research. You continue talking about why.
I'll let you take a look. You're going to find it immediately.
Okay.
So, look, when I went, Tranquil wasn't back at practice yet. Neither was Fulton. Rice and Brown were also out, so keep that in mind. I got to tell you, my biggest takeaway was if Brashad Smith, like, if they're not terrified of him blocking, because blocking was a little rough at times with him when they asked him to, like, pick up a blitzer, that dude, that guy can move, man. Like, they hit him on a 50-yard wheel route at one point outside. Then they went inside. He was running with the second team, and they gave him an inside handoff. It was kind of like a delayed draw, lead draw. He hit the seam, made one cut, left the linebacker, couldn't see the number because we were so far away from it, but left the linebacker just completely in his wake and ran 50 yards for a touchdown. And Mahomes just sprinted like the length of the field celebrating. It was one of those plays you watch and you're like, yeah, there's nobody else in this team that was doing that. Nobody. Like, and then it was funny because then he stood next to Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's the size of like a defensive tackle next to Brashard Smith.
Yeah.
And Hunt actually looked like maybe he's lost a little bit of weight. Like he looked really good, but I was impressed. Worthy's route running is exceptional. That was something that I was talking to Nate Taylor about that too. Like we were sitting there having that conversation. I was like, "Is this just a one-day thing?" And he's like, "No, he's a little good route." And you could see it. Like I remember being there last year, and you could kind of see it. But he's a rookie. It's a little unpolished. It's a little bit. You could tell like at times he's like thinking through the route. Because hell, it probably was.
Right.
Much more polished this time around. I really like that. I thought, in fact, my camp report at SI.com, which if you don't read it, you're a horrible person. Yeah. You are all bulls a week if you don't read it. 1,500 words while I was eating barbecue. It was great. But now the catered barbecue, oh my God, it was unbelievable. In any event, no, I thought the rookie class really stood out to me, to be honest. That was kind of my overarching thing. So I thought Smith looked really good.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, one guy we never talk about, Bassa in coverage was pretty fucking impressive, to be honest with you. He covered Kelsey on an out and up and like ran the route for him and knocked the pass away. I was like,
wow.
Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, is he not a converted safety?
So yes.
Yeah, you could tell watching him. I was like, look, there's a lot more to being a linebacker than just doing this, but like they've had coverage linebackers who look like they're running with half an ankle the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That was impressive. I was like, maybe that kid even could carve out an itch doing that. Noel Williams had some good reps and bad reps. Like, I think there's a lot of potential there, but it's going to take some time. I can see why they like Gelati. He's got a lot of tools. He's got some power. He's got some good bursts off the line. Spags talked about him after practice with us, and he was saying how impressed he is with him. Norman, a lot. I didn't get to see a ton. A lot of that time they were kind of far away from us. So put him to the side. And then Simmons. So there was a play in the practice where we all thought Amenahu might have gotten pretty seriously hurt, and he ended up being fine. Right. He came back in like 2 plays later. It was hard to tell if he jumped a little, but like Simmons basically forklifted him off the ground, and then Amenahu fell, and he fell kind of awkwardly, and he was dragging like his right shoulder.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh my God. Like I thought either like he did like the Hollywood Brown injury or like maybe like a separated shoulder. Came back in 2 plays later and stayed in. So whatever it was, it was fine. He practiced the next day. Maybe it was a stinger. Like it was weird. He got hurt. But look, Simmons a couple times on like twists and stunts was a little slow to react. So it's something they got to work on. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, man. On any play that wasn't a twist or a stunt, he just buried whoever was going against him. You're like, okay. So I thought their rookies looked really, really good. I was really impressed by the young crop of guys they had there.
Yeah, I think that's really encouraging to hear. Obviously, as a team rebuilding in a dynasty, you want those young guys on those cost-controlled contracts to look really good. But that's a great point you brought up. I'm excited that you finally got eyes on Josh Simmons to see like he legit looks different than all the other tackles, right? Like it's not. I'm not hyperbolic when I say that. He looks insanely different.
One of the things about him that like Stevie Wonder would see it immediately. Like is when you shout out Stevie Wonder. Great.
Shout out Stevie.
Great. Sorry, Stevie. He'd laugh. He knows. Like he rockets out of his stance.
Yeah.
That is like I know that sounds like a dumb thing. Like, okay. I promise you, watch him on Saturday night against Arizona. That guy is off the line and 2 or 3 kick slides back so fast. It is like borderline jarring. You're like, oh my God. Like he just fires out. And so, when you do that and you're really quick off the line, you're going to beat the guy to your landmark 9 times out of 10, if not more than that. So his combination of agility and power, you could see why you have people like, oh yeah, it looks like Trent Williams. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and put him in Trent Williams' class when he's never played a football game at the NFL level. But the talent is evident. Like it is not. And by the way, the one rookie I didn't mention who I thought also looked really good was Royals. Royals played really well. Like Royals' body type, he looks just like Rashee Rice. Like if you changed out the jersey, you'd be like, oh yeah, it's Rice. Then he's a little faster than Rice. I think Rice is a little looser in his hips. But Royals was like getting open consistently. And I'll tell you one other guy, not a rookie. And I have been downplaying this the entire camp because it's like, yeah, all right. Tyquan Thornton might have been the best player on their offense in practice when I was there.
Yeah.
He was annihilating people like to the point you're like, what? Like he ran a corner route on Jalen Watson. Jalen Watson is a good corner. He's a good. He destroyed Jalen Watson. And then Mahomes made a perfect throw, but he beat him by like 3 steps to the pylon. Yeah. And then the next play, he ran down the seam, and Mahomes actually threw it a little high. Should have been a touchdown. He was wide open for a 20-yard touchdown. It went off top of his hands, and Juju started yelling at him. He's got to catch it. Half playfully. I mean, also was like, you need to catch that ball. But I got to tell you, like, look, I still think it's really hard to make a case like Tyquan Thornton is going to be a meaningful player for this team. Like they have so many guys. He was, again, no Brown, no Rice. He was legitimately very good. Like, very good. Like, if he was a rookie, I heard about this guy. Like, okay. And I feel like Tyquan Thornton's played so little football the last 3 years that he basically is a rookie. It was interesting. I will say that, man, the main takeaway is like that team's just, they're loaded. They're loaded. Like after watching the Colts and the Bengals, I mean, the Colts have talent outside of the quarterback situation is going to kill them.
Yeah.
But they have talent. The Bengals obviously offensively have a ton of talent. But man, you watch the Chiefs and like it's not a homer thing or anything. You're just like that team's just way better. They're on a whole nother level than what I've seen. Now I'm going to go see the whole NFC North the next week or so. I'm going to see the Bills. I'm going to see the Texans. I'll see some really good teams. But yeah, walking out of there, I was like, man, if this team's healthy, good luck. I mean, they're loaded. What is the biggest weakness? And then I'll shut the fuck up. Like, like you walk out of there and you're like, man, I don't know. Like left guard is a question, wide receiver 5 and like cornerback 4. There are good teams who are sitting there going, man, 4 of our position groups,
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I don't know, the 5th receiver who's never going to play. Like, what's his deal? it's you walk away just saying this team. I mean, Bucker was drilling 70-yard field goals. Like it's just
Awesome.
yeah. Mahomes was catching fade routes in the end zone. That was pretty funny. He was just doing it for fun. He was trying to moss one of the assistant coaches. They're so talented that then I go back home and I see like Cowherd's picking the Chargers to win the division.
Yeah.
Look, man, like I get it. I'm in the media. I get it. I actually like Colin Cowherd. I'm not killing him, but it's like, what are we doing? Like, if you saw the team that I saw Wednesday, you'd be like, okay. Sure. Like if Mahomes is upright and breathing, you can just start printing the banner. But yeah, I mean that's where you're at.
Right. Yeah. Right. You can print the divisional banner for sure, and probably the AFC champion banner as well. Like, I mean, you can go ahead and start printing the shirts. I will say, an amendment I would like to offer: running back's not phenomenal. Like, that running back room doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence in there for me. That would have what I think is probably the biggest weakness would be running back.
True. But, I got to tell you, that's kind of why I led with Brashard Smith.
Yeah. That's fair.
I watched that guy and I was like, you're not going to play this kid? Like, this guy, look, I'm not, I don't want anybody out there listening being like, Verderame says he's Jamal Charles. Like, no, I'm not saying that. Okay.
Oh, dang it.
Sorry. What I am saying is because he played receiver for 3 years at Miami before he transferred to SMU.
Yeah.
He's got hands. He's got really good hands. He can, for a running back, the guy's got exceptional hands. You can line him up all over the formation because of that, because he understands what to do. He also runs a sub 4.4, and like he looks like that when he's running.
Yeah.
Like some guys run a 4.4, but then you watch him and you're like, yeah, right. This guy's like a 4.6 football player though. And then there are other guys who run like Jerry Rice ran a 4.6 4.40. And it looked like he ran a 4.2 in the NFL. Because he's like, Christian Okoye ran a faster 40 than Jerry Rice.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
There you go. Fun fact. Okay. Didn't exactly slow Jerry Rice down. Okay. There are certain guys who they play fast. They run fast. They play fast. Like Brashard Smith, watching him, this guy can run. He's a flag. Now, if I'm asking him to pick up Roquan Smith on a blitz, horror show. Okay. But that's fine. He doesn't have to play third down. You can have Kareem Hunt in there for that. But check it. I would, like, in the preseason, I'd give that kid a lot of run. Like, all right, man, we're going to give you 10 carries a game. Like, and a couple of them with the first team. Let's see what you've got. He caught my eye. He was somebody I was like, you're really going to let this kid with this amount of talent sit on the bench?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was interesting to me.
You know what's interesting in the one practice I've seen in the countless training camp clips that I've seen, it's been relatively quiet from Elijah Mitchell. Truthfully, I haven't seen a whole lot, and dude didn't play at all last year. I'm curious if you even noticed him at practice or anything like that, but I feel like it's been relatively quiet from him.
He had a couple of plays. He had a touchdown in the team drills, but yeah, he was of the backs. He and Hunt were probably the quietest. Not to be fair, Hunt also, the day I saw him, he just wasn't getting a lot of. Like he was
I mean, the dude's 30 years old.
They weren't like, hey, Kareem, we want you to take this one off tackles. It was a whole lot of, like, hey, Kareem, stand there. Yeah. I will say, I thought Pacheco looked pretty good. He looked healthy. Like, he just looked healthy.
Good, yeah.
By the way, of the 4 pressers we did, we talked to Carson Steele, Najee Johnson, Travis Kelce, and Spags.
Mm-hmm.
Najee Johnson, I thought, I'm trying to think if it was me. I can't remember who asked him the question. It doesn't matter. We asked him about his ACL and, how he's feeling. And he was like, man, like, I was thinking about it a lot when I played last year. Like, my knee didn't feel great last year. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. You go watch what he said. But, like, he was like, I feel basically like I'm night and day. Yeah. Like, I don't think about my knee anymore. I feel fast. I feel explosive. And he kind of looked like that when he played. It was interesting because, like, last year, like, obviously, if I was the first guy leading the parade about like how bad he looked in those games, he actually looked like somewhat serviceable. So look, point is, a lot of times you hear a guy say like, I need a year to come back from an ACL. Like, it takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be curious to see if that proves true with him because he was having a really good camp the year he got hurt, and then last year he came back and he he just did not look fast. He did not look explosive. And in camp this year, like I'm not sitting here saying it looks like McDuffie, but he looked serviceable, which he, in my opinion, was not a year ago.
Yeah, 100%. Last couple housekeeping things before we get into like kind of like the NFL wide news stuff, because I think there's some NFL stuff that's happened that will impact the Chiefs. We should definitely talk about with injuries and everything going on like that. Christian Fulton did return from the PUP list. He did return to practice on Thursday, the last practice that they had before they headed out of town to go to Glendale. Glendale's where they're at, right? Technically.
Yes.
To State Farm Stadium to go take on the Arizona Cardinals as the first preseason game. He was back. Drew Tranquill was also back. Both those guys didn't do team stuff, which understandably so. They just came back for individual drills, everything like that. I do feel better about Christian Fulton and where he's at injury-wise now that he came back. He didn't do anything, but now that he's like back off of the PUP technically, because you can't do anything in practice if you're on the PUP, and he's back off the PUP, that makes me feel a lot better now. It's this week rather than like next week, right? Like that, for some reason, this one practice separating these two this preseason game and, into next week, that feels a whole lot better than him being activated on like, let's just say like Monday or something like that.
Yeah, no, I think, look, Christian Fulton, as long as he progresses the way you would expect, should be fine for the season.
For sure.
I mean, we're talking a month basically. So, that's fine. And look, you know what? I think sometimes people have to realize too, the Chiefs aren't worried about whether Christian Fulton's out there, like, preseason game one. They're getting ready for the Chargers. They're getting ready for the season. This is also a team that's played 1 billion games the last 7 years. They're not worrying about, oh, it's Christian Fulton. We got to get him right for that Arizona game. Get him in for a series. It's okay. Same thing with like Hollywood Brown and Rasheed Rice. I don't care. I don't care if these guys are out there for a series on Saturday night. So I think, look, it's encouraging Tranquill's back because backs are always tricky. And it's encouraging that Fulton is off PUP.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta think, if you're the Chiefs, like I know they're going to go back here for a few days after Arizona, which is, by the way, just the player's favorite thing in the world to do is to go back to St. Joe. Oh, brutal. Because what do they have? They'll have 5 practices left, not even.
Maybe because they play a second preseason game on that Friday, so they'll probably
not even 5
games on the games on a Saturday. They'll probably be back at practice on Monday, and they'll probably go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Thursday. So the Chiefs.
No,
the Chiefs are going to be off Sunday. They have 3 practices, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And the last practice is going to be them just kind of it's Military Appreciation Day. It's going to be super light. So they basically have 2 more practices at St. Joe. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you kind of get into lighter practices. You're going to start getting into like the way you practice during the season, which is much different than camp practices. Listen, barring something really odd, if you're the Chiefs, you're walking out of St. Joe going, nobody got seriously hurt. We got good work in. The rookies look really good. We feel great. I mean, if you're the Chiefs, I say this every year, and it's true for any team, but especially a team that's already kind of proven itself, and certainly the Chiefs are top of the heap with that. The biggest thing in the summer is not to get a big injury. That is the biggest. We could talk. Look, I don't give, and I promise you, neither do these teams. I don't give 2 shits about what the score of the game is in Arizona. They don't care. No. The Chiefs can lose that game 100-0, and if nobody's hurt, fantastic. Let's get on the plane. They don't care. These games are. In fact, I've had a lot of coaches tell me over the last couple of years I've done these camp tours. They would rather have a joint practice than a preseason game. They put more stock.
Oh, interesting.
They put more stock into a joint practice, and because they said you can sit there and set up situational football that you can't always do in a preseason game.
That's true.
These teams don't care. They don't care. They're not game planning. They don't give any care at all to it. So that's where they sit going into it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But first preseason game coming up on Saturday. We'll obviously have a post-game show for you guys, so make sure to stay locked in here at KC Sports Network. We'll be live after it. I'm super stoked, Matt, for that 9 p.m. kickoff next Friday.
Oh, God almighty.
Yeah, we're going to be live after that one, too. So, you gotta love the grind. But We're going to take a break because that's all the Chiefs stuff we got for you. We're going to, well, I guess that's not necessarily true because there is some NFL ramifications, as I mentioned earlier, some injuries around the league that are going to impact the Chiefs and especially their week 1 matchup that we're probably going to spend a little bit more time on than we'll spend on any of the other headlines on quick hitters. But let's take a break. We'll be back right after this. Chiefs.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Just a short drive from Kansas City. Experience the history, the heritage, and the bourbon at Holiday Distillery. Tour Missouri's oldest distillery, where real Missouri bourbon is made the old-fashioned way. Walk the grounds, taste the tradition, and take home a bottle of something special. Make the trip, sip the story. Holiday Distillery, Weston, Missouri. Book your tour at holidaydistillery.com.
I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network. Emprise Bank has been with us from the beginning. They were our first network partner, and they believed in the vision of what we were building from the start. I can't speak to any other banks or companies and how they operate, but I can tell you from personal experience and based on the growth of the network you're listening to right now, that if you have banking needs, call our friends at Emprise Bank. We've worked with so many great people there over the years, from Vicky and Aggie to Andrea, Lori, Jackie, Deb, and Aaron, and not to mention so many others that not just supported KC Sports Network, but supported our KCSN Foundation as well. But the best thing that I know is that if I have a question or a problem, no matter how dumb the question is, I know who I'm going to call and who I'm going to talk to, and I know that I'm getting an answer from someone that I can trust, and I know that person is there to help us. That's why Emprise Bank has always been and continues to be our partner in Possible, and they can be yours too. You just have to reach out. If you have a banking need, whether it's business or personal, hit me up. I will connect you directly with the same people that have helped us build KCSN. And that's our friends at Emprise Bank.
Folks, nothing beats hanging out with the boys on a hot summer day and watching some baseball. And the simplest way that you all can get in on the action is to download the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It is crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. And the best part is, Pick 6 is available right here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun. Don't settle for a smaller payout. Switch to Pick 6, and right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Here's what you got to do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and then use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Bonus picks expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see pick6.draftkings.com/promos. One of my favorite things, Matt, is looking at the NFL CBA and their padded practices that they have. I had the number in my head when we were talking about the padded practices because you mentioned, they're going to get into a lighter practice schedule.
Right.
They can only in the regular season have 14 total padded practices. That's the most. Yeah.
One a week, if
right.
that, not even.
And they have to have 11 in the first 11 weeks. So it's like after the first 11 weeks, then you have 3 more to do throughout the rest of the season, which is genuinely hilarious, but nevertheless, in the postseason you get 1 padded practice a week. You get an extra padded practice that you can do.
They should go to 1 padded practice for the whole year.
I think they should.
So
that's probably what the players.
You know what? That game sucked so bad. Tuesday padded practice.
Oh,
like just bring them in a day early. Don't even give them the Wednesday. Like just bring them in on Tuesday.
Tuesday padded practice would be brutal.
Yeah.
So I mean, meanwhile, as the NFL is fighting for another game for them to play on their schedule, they're like, how can we have only 4 or instead of 14? Let's have 13 padded practices. And they're like, all right, you just got to play an extra week. And they're like, okay, fine. That's the NFLPA in a nutshell. Nevertheless, there were some training camp injuries that happened before preseason games even happened. Like, we got preseason games going on as we're recording the podcast right now. Thursday was kind of the start of like the actual real preseason because you had the Hall of Fame game last Thursday. Now you got like actual preseason games happening in home locations. But on Thursday, this happened on Thursday, right? Like I'm not. It was this Thursday or Wednesday that Rashawn Slater did go down with an injury that the Chargers left tackle. Who, it seems like it was so long ago, but there's been a lot of information come out and about a lot of these different injuries, which I did look into the source off. We're going to get to that later. But Rashawn Slater is a big one because that is the Chiefs' week 1 opponent. That is, as you and I were talking before this podcast, one of the best players on the Los Angeles Chargers, if not the best player on the Los Angeles Chargers. Now they got to try to figure out a solution in a short window with preseason games still on the horizon. He just signed a massive deal too. So like, shout out to Rashawn Slater for getting the contract in, but like, very tough situation all around for everyone involved. I feel for Rashawn Slater. It's also been confirmed it's a torn patellar injury too. That injury will sound familiar to Chiefs fans because that's what Josh Simmons had. So, Matt, thoughts on that injury and just kind of how it impacts the Chargers as a whole going into this NFL season?
First of all, I said it to you before the show. I think he is the best player on the team. He's not the most important player. Herbert's obviously the most important player. But I think he's a better tackle than Alt. Even though Alt's terrific, I think he's the better of the two tackles.
Yeah.
He's better than any defensive player they have. And that includes Derwin James. Like, he's better than Derwin James is. He's the best player on that team. And he's out for the year. And that is, look, that is a crushing injury for any team. I likened it for you. Like, it's like if the Chiefs lost Chris Jones. You're just, you're not putting Humpty Dumpty back together. Like, that kind of injury impacts you all over the field. So the expectation now is Joe Alt's going to go from the right side to the left side, and they're going to put Trey Pipkins in at right tackle. Listen, all due respect to Trey Pipkins, he is not half the player Rashawn Slater is.
No.
That is, and this is an offensive line that already is not that good, despite those two tackles being there. Like, this is a line that on the interior has a lot of questions. Zion Johnson, former first-round pick out of Boston College, has not been good. He's moving to center. Bradley Bozeman's in there. He's really more of a backup. And then Mekhi Becton's coming in at right guard. Mekhi Becton has struggled to stay healthy most of his career and really was never any good until he played between Lane Johnson and Cam Jurgens in Philadelphia. So, like with Jeff Stoutland as his O-line coach. That interior is not good. Let's put it that way. Right. And now if you're the Chiefs, like on third down, you're always going to put Chris Jones on the edge. That's what they do. And it's like, okay, well, it's going to be Alt or Slater he's got to go against. Well, now it's going to be Trey Pipkins. I promise you that. Okay, like Trey Pipkins is getting the work from Chris Jones on third down in that game.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to put a Menahu inside, and they're going to loop Karlaftis inside, and they're going to let Mike Dana go against Rashawn Slater. And here it comes. You know, I mean, it's a major excuse me. I don't know. The other part of it too is they love to run the football.
Yeah, they do.
Well, you know, Slater's not just a great pass blocker; he's an excellent run blocker. You don't have him now. He's got that injury is going to change their entire offense. Mm-hmm. He's the most important player on that team outside of Herbert, and he's the best player on the team, I think, period. So losing that guy is a devastating injury to the Chargers. There's no way around it.
Yeah, it is the Chiefs' week 1 opponent, right? They'll take them on in Brazil. So that could be some big ramifications. Matt, as you mentioned, Chris Jones is the guy that likes to move around and pick his matchups. Like, that gives him a very easy target now of how the Chiefs can kind of game plan around this offense. And we weren't necessarily anticipating the Chargers offense to be a high-flying offense anyway, when you look at who's in their wide receiver room, number 1, and you look at who's their head coach, number 2, they like to ground and pound and run the football, and that's what they did last year. I mean, they ran the football a decent amount last year. They've had some injuries at running back as well with the whole Najee Harris injury with his eye on 4th of July. And
Yeah.
they've had that franchise is like cursed with injuries like that. They cannot have anything nice, apparently. I don't understand it. I legitimately don't know like how it all happens or what was it? Spanos was on the Chargers, like what he did to the football gods to make them revolt against him so much. But golly, like it just seems like that organization has had the short end of the stick for a very long time.
Yeah, they have. And listen, the Slater thing, I mean, that is legitimately the kind of injury that could be the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. I mean, he's that good of a player for anyone who's not like totally familiar with him in the Chargers. As far as like week 1 goes, I mean, if you're the Chiefs, that opens up a lot of ways to attack them.
It does.
It opens up, I mean, it really does, because without that injury, now you got 2 really good tackles. They can pinch inside, do different things. Now, if you're the Chiefs, you're like, cool, we're gonna just mug up the A gap and get one-on-ones against 4 guys that we feel like we should beat consistently. And like, I don't care what you do offensively. At some point, you just have to be able to block. Like it's one. I mean, we saw that in the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. Like at some point, you've just got to be able to block somebody. It's a crushing injury, and it wasn't the only one on the day. Look, C.J. Gardner-Johnson got hurt with the Texans, which then led to what is a battle royale source-off. Jordan Schultz tweets out, he tore his ACL, he's done for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Diana Rossini then tweets out, no, he's not. Like, he's going to miss some time, but his ACL's intact.
Right.
Ian then jumps in, your guy jumps in, and says he didn't tear his ACL, which leads me to wonder, is Jordan looking for the nearest coffee shop to wherever Ian currently is at the moment? And then Josina Anderson and Adam Schefter also said that the knee is intact. And then Jordan doubled back and was like, I'm wrong, the knee's intact. So the source off has been settled. Jordan was wrong here.
Yeah, I don't know where his wires got crossed. But also, did you see that he quote tweeted like Adam? He didn't quote tweet Ian. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, that feud simmers. It continues on.
It does. It's boiling.
But it's listen, it happens. But the source off was intense there for a minute. But yeah, look, the bottom line is they avoid a huge injury, but apparently there's still an injury. And then Anthony Richardson, like a second into the preseason game, got smoked in Baltimore.
Yeah, because he couldn't read that there were 6 guys on the line of scrimmage, and he only had 5 guys blocking for him.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to do this for everybody real quick, and Tucker could do this better than me because he played high school football. I was too much of an unathletic dope. He's busy playing hockey. But being unathletic and stupid on ice. Look, when you play football, you have 5 offensive linemen.
You do. I can't confirm that one.
And I don't want to alarm anybody, but when the other team brings 6 guys, somebody's coming unblocked. Like, if you don't have extra guys in to help block, if you're an empty, which they were in this situation, well, they had a back in, but he went out for a hot route.
Right.
And if you're Anthony Richardson, the back is going to release. Like, the only way he's going to chip is if he's told to chip. If he's not told that, and he's the hot route, he's got to get out into the pattern. And if you watch the play, the back gets out into the pattern and hooks up for the ball. The slot receiver runs a hot route at about 6-7 yards and hooks up for the ball. And Anthony Richardson, for anyone who hasn't seen this play, when I say didn't see the free rusher coming, didn't even feel that a 260-pound man was running at him full bore with not a hand on him and just got smoked. And had to leave with a finger injury.
A finger injury might have been the funniest injury he could have sustained for that.
I thought he got knocked out when he got hit. So, oh my god! And now he's on the sideline in street clothes. He jogged out, so apparently he's fine, but his finger hurts. Here's the bigger takeaway from that. Put any injury he has aside. That's why he can't start.
Yeah,
you just can't. Dude, that is I am not film guy. Like, I understand enough that I can sit there and watch all 22 and be like somewhat fluent, but like not anywhere near like some of these people. That is basic day one high school install type stuff. Like, hey man, if a guy blitzes, offensive line typically, unless there's an odd call, you're going to block from the inside out.
Yep.
If that guy comes off the edge, he's unblocked. Like, you have to know where your hots are. You have to know that. And he just got lit up.
Right.
Like, if you're Shane Steichen, you're sitting there going, I cannot, to channel Mike Singletary, can't win with him, can't play with him, can't do it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You cannot have your third-year starting quarterback just get annihilated on the simplest blitz in the world because he has no idea where his hots are. And, like, the guys coming free. That kind of stuff is like Daniel Jones went 10 of 21. He was awful.
I did see that, yeah.
And he still walks out of this game and you're like, yeah, he's probably a star.
Yeah, I mean, look. Also, what didn't help in that play is the line was sliding to the left away from where the free rusher was coming. Yeah. So, like, that also didn't help. And usually when you have, like, a slide protection to the left, the back will insert. He was on the back side, technically up the slide. The back will insert. But, again, as you mentioned, they had the hot route, and he was wide-ass open, by the way. Like that. If he even looked that way, it would have been an easy completion for at least 5 yards. And the slot receiver who was on the hook, he was also open. Like, they had two guys open on the side that he didn't look. Also, this rush was not on his blind side. Like, this rush was to his face. Yes.
Oh, God, dude,
that's the other part of this.
The only thing that looked worse than Anthony Richardson was the Cincinnati Bengals defense, who they are playing the Eagles on Thursday night. And the Bengals are so bad defensively that it led to the following tweet by Jimmy Kemsky, who is a buddy of mine who covers the Eagles for the Philly Voice. And his tweet was, Tanner McKee is pretty damn good. Tanner McKee is the backup quarterback for the Eagles, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
And the Eagles, who played nobody in this game. And the Bengals were like, we're playing our starters early on for a while. It's 24-14 Philly before the half. Tanner McKee is 14 of 17 for $193 and 2 touchdowns. And the Eagles have rushed for 5.8 yards per attempt in the first half.
Yeah, but the Bengals got their sick highlight that to go on NFL. You know, they got the good Jamar Chase toe tap. So who really wins here though? Man.
I got to tell you, not the Bengals, who played all their starters in this game, including, by the way, Shamar Stewart.
Shout out.
Yeah, showed up. A significant amount in his game and got annihilated by Philadelphia's second-string offense. I mean, Will Shipley had 7 carries for 48 yards. Johnny Wilson had 3 catches for 73 yards. Darius Cooper had 3 catches for 51 yards and a touchdown. I just
saw his touchdown.
The Bengals can't do anything against the second-string Philadelphia Eagles offense. And then, as hilarious, the Ravens in the aggregate, who started nobody in this game against Colts.
Yeah, no, they didn't have anybody playing. Mm-hmm.
2 of 7 for 3 yards passing in the first half, and are winning 21-9.
I think that they had a punt return for a touchdown, right? LaJohn Wester.
2 picks, by the way. Let's not forget that. They also
Cooper Rush's first pass attempt was a pick.
It's just like the Colts are getting smoked by a team that threw for 3 yards in total in the first half.
Oh,
gotta love it. You got the Raiders in Seattle this evening at 9 Central, which of course that can be well over before this goes up. But yeah, man, I'll tell you though, like, my main takeaways from the week that was Chiefs, when I went to their practice, looked fantastic. They really did. Like, you walked away from looking at that team and you're like, yeah, they're not going to be bad. The Chargers lose a phenomenal player and a guy who really changes their season. We had a source off about an injury that I don't think is going to change the season here.
Right, I was going to say, I don't know if C.J. Gardner-Johnson being out really moves the needle a whole lot for the Texans.
Nah, it probably doesn't. but he's going to be out for a little while. Enos Rakestraw, who is, of course, Mizzou, made in Mizzou, he's out for the year with shoulder surgery. So he was placed on IR. He is done for the season. The Lions, by the way, continue to just
they have so many injuries, man. Holy cow.
Like, you look at that team defensively, and you're like, man, they are going to be challenged defensively. Like, you're asking, and look, we can talk about them real quick because they do play the Chiefs week 6. Sure. That is a defense you're already sitting there going, okay, so Aiden Hutchinson's coming off. He's a phenomenal player, but coming off of a brutal injury, like a really ugly injury. McNeil's coming off a torn ACL. Branch is the only real good player on that defense who's not coming off a big injury.
Right.
You know, and then it's like, okay, they're missing a host of guys already long term. They've already lost 2 guys for the season that were going to play real snaps on that defense. And it's a defense that lost Aaron Glenn in the offseason and become the coach of the Jets. I mean, you know, the last month and a half of the year, the Lions got to a point where they basically scored 38 points a game.
Yeah.
There's a world here where the Lions are the NFC's version of the Bengals, where it's just like, hey, man, Hutchinson is your Hendrickson, and, like, go score 35 because I don't know that we can stop anyone. So you got Rakestraw's out for the year. He's done. The Bills still got a contract situation going on with James Cook.
Yeah, he hasn't really. He stopped practicing for them.
Correct.
And so did Cam Hayward do the same thing. Cam Hayward stopped practicing for the Steelers quietly.
Yes. Chris Boswell also pissed and wants more money. So that's
really.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's pissed.
I didn't see that one. Huh.
Yeah. Well, it's just a kicker. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a damn. But yeah, like that's kind of, look, it's been an interesting week. Unfortunate injuries. You know, I mean, we're going to talk about Jerry. What else is new?
There's nothing surprising about that, Jerry Jones. Like he's doing the thing that he always does in contract negotiations, where he's just legitimately being a dumbass. Yeah. I mean,
he's just not doing things that are bright. Also, the last one I wanted to bring up was Matthew Stafford is getting epidurals in his back.
Yeah, that's
not good.
No.
Okay, that's not good. And I know there are people out there like, oh, he's an NFL player. Look, man, he's a human being. Your back is your back. Like, he's in his late 30s getting epidurals in his back. They're not giving him epidurals for fun.
Right.
Like,
correct. Yes.
Okay, if you're getting epidurals, you're in a pretty good amount of pain. And these week to week, and Jimmy Garoppolo is the backup, and who knows, but like, keep an eye on that one. Because if the epidurals don't work, the next step is surgery.
Yes.
So, not good. Not the Rams are, I'm sure, holding their breath right now. That's for damn sure.
I believe that he does have a disc issue, is what it was reported. Does. Yeah, so it's a disc issue in an aggravated disc that has reduced him to a bystander. Wow, that was incredible word. Who wrote this? That's very good. Nick Shook from around the NFL.
Good job,
yeah, great phrasing there. I love that. A couple more that I wanted to bring up before. I have a proposal that we do Beef of the Week now, and then Monday we'll do Bozo of the Week because we'll have like a game and games that have happened where we can kind of do Bozos of the Week. If that makes sense. There's a good Beef of the Week I do want to talk about though. So we got that. A couple more that I want to talk about. The NFL banned smelling salts, and
be more pissed.
George Kittle pissed about it. He's like, I used him before every time I stepped on the field, and I said, you know what? That makes a lot more sense. George Kittle made it a lot more sense to me after I found that out.
I feel like George Kittle's just like driving around on the freeway, just bang, take me at the red light. make sure I'm up for that noon kick.
So here's the issue with them. They're saying that the products aren't proven to be safe and also could mask signs of a concussion. I understand the league's point of view on that. They quoted from the memo. It says in 2024, the FDA issued a warning to companies that produce commercially available ammonia inhalants, AIs, as well as to consumers about the purchase and use of AIs regarding the lack of evidence supporting the safety or efficacy of AIs marketed for improving mental alertness or boosting energy. The FDA noted that potential negative effects from AI use look, we could also use this for artificial intelligence as well. AIs also have potential to mask certain neurologic signs and symptoms, including some potential signs of concussion. As a result, the NFL Head, Neck, and Spine Committee recommended prohibiting the use of AIs for any purpose during NFL play. I did see there was something about the league will not provide them, but they could still use them if they bring them. Is kind of like a revised amendment to this plan here. I don't think that it's as big of a deal as they're making it, but we'll see. Maybe time will not favor that take very well.
By the way, I just saw somebody compare Tanner McKee to Tom Brady. So that's who the Bengals' first string defense is right now.
Well, you have DraftKings our great friends at DraftKings out here tweeting like how many teams would Tanner McKee start for, and I said probably 0.
You know how rancid you have to be as a first team defense. People are out here like Tanner McKee. Like, is he better than half the NFL? Because your first team defense is getting absolutely just ripped to shreds.
And this has nothing to do with Tanner McKee. Like, he's not good, but like that is also true. But like, it's just how bad the Bengals defense is.
They're hard. They're hard. Good though. It's good they fired out of Roma. It's good. That'll fix things.
The Browns should trade for Tanner McKee. I just saw that on my timeline.
Some team probably will. And Roseman got like a second round pick for him.
That's true. Insane.
Yeah, it's
smelling salts.
Smelling salts. Yeah. Listen, what's the point of banning them if you're just going to let people bring them?
That's the other thing.
That's like a club being like, listen, no more Coke unless you bring it. In which case, Coke. What are we doing here? I either ban them or no. And no, I'm not comparing smelling salts to Coke. Okay, but I'm just saying, so guys are going to have them. I don't have any issue with smelling salt. You have neurological checks now for concussions.
Correct.
It's not like it used to be where you're like, that was the main, hey, you give this guy some salts and, get him going. That's not the way that works now.
Right.
So I don't care if the guy wants to have a smelling salt. Have you ever had a smelling salt?
Oh, buddy, it wakes you up. I've done it before, like lifting before.
Ran him on the hockey bench once, and I don't know why it was there because it's not a typical thing. But like one of my teammates had it on the bench, and probably had a concussion back then. Who knows? And
probably passed
it down. What is he? He's like, "Oh yeah, smell it." I was like,
"Oh." Is it one of the the pop packages where you crack it and then woof?
Yes.
Woof.
Whoa. Wow.
Wake your ass up for sure.
Tell you what, if you're having a sluggish first quarter or first period, you're not after that. Okay. You are alive.
They work. That's the thing is they work.
So I don't have any issue with players using them. I don't care. If it's masking a concussion, fine, but it's not now. So I don't see the issue. I thought it's an optics thing for the NFL.
100%. That's what it has to be. The other thing I want to talk about, Jordan Addison suspended 3 years, Rashee Rice, or 3 years. Holy cow. That'd be insane. 3 games. I don't know if we talked about that on the last podcast. I can't remember when that one came down. You can kind of maybe anticipate a Rashee Rice ruling coming down somewhat soon. But then a part of me also thinks that if the Rashee Rice ruling was anywhere close to the Jordan Addison ruling, like in terms of game-wise, wouldn't they have announced it with it? I don't know. But that's probably going to come down soon, a Rashee Rice ruling. I'm sure everyone is keenly aware of that. But I'm not sure how much the Jordan Addison ruling has to do with a Rashee Rice ruling. Those are two very different things.
Yes.
I know they're both driving related. His was a DUI. He also had a previous DUI, right? On top of it.
It wasn't a DUI. It was he got pulled over for going 140 miles an hour.
Well, that'll do it.
Not good, but also he wasn't drunk. He was sober driving 140 miles an hour.
Which is better than being drunk and driving 140 miles an hour. You can ask Henry Ruggs. So we should have a Rashee Rice ruling somewhat soon. It'd be before the start of the season, hopefully. I don't know if that has a lot of impact, like I said. Last one I wanted to bring up, ESPN is buying everything. I don't know where they're getting all this money from. Well, Disney is where they're getting all the money from.
I know where they're getting it from.
But they are ESPN, a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company. This is from a press release. And the National Football League announced a non-binding agreement under which ESPN will acquire NFL Network and certain other media assets owned and controlled by the NFL, including the NFL's linear Red Zone channel and NFL Fantasy, in exchange for a 10% equity stake in ESPN. In addition to the sale of NFL Network, the NFL and ESPN are also entering into a second non-binding agreement under which the NFL, non-binding, which the NFL will license to ESPN certain NFL content and other intellectual property to be used by NFL Network and other assets. A very interesting deal there. I think in exchange for 10% equity stake in ESPN is very interesting for the NFL. That was a thing that popped out the most for me. But there's a lot of things that go into this, with NFL Network basically being now an ESPN property.
Listen, I got to be honest, from my perspective, it's really, it sucks. Because if you're working at ESPN, you're going to have a really hard time being super critical of anything going on at the NFL.
It's a great point.
You can't do capital J journalism now and cover the league with that. You can't, no way in hell. There will be stories that will be killed by the NFL at ESPN. It's going to happen. And look, I can tell you right now, like, that does happen with places that are rights holders. That is one of the things I enjoy most, among many things, working at Sports Illustrated, is like, we get all the access in the world, but we're not a TV station. We're not rights holders. So they can't sit there and do that with us. I do not like that the NFL now owns 10% of ESPN and basically just tell them what to do. I mean, there's no way around it. I think it's a bad thing for sports media.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bad thing for fans. And I think it is something that, look, I think I saw, and maybe you even just said Red Zone, I think it's not going to be free.
I don't know if it'll be free. I didn't get to that part of the press release, but it is a part of the agreement where they do get the NFL Red Zone linear channel. Okay,
because I saw it said it was free. Maybe it's not. I don't want to put that out there if I'm wrong. But I don't like it. I'll be honest with you. I don't. I think it's a bad thing. Look, I have a lot of friends at ESPN. I'm certainly not trying to run them down or anything like that, but I would say that I think a lot of them would even agree with this privately. Like, ESPN could do amazing work, and at times does do amazing work.
Absolutely.
E60, 30 for 30, those kinds of things. Like, big time. I think College Game Day is one of the best things that anybody does.
Yep.
Fantastic, right? Like, I am a major fan of that. I'm a major fan of the way they put on live products.
Mm-hmm.
They're great with it. But, excuse me, all too often, you know, what does ESPN get thought of for? Stephen A. and the A block screaming about the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I just worry that this deal is just going to further that kind of crap, because it's easy and it's money making, and the NFL is going to be, hey, make sure we're getting out there. And unfortunately, the things that sell and the things that click are often the dumbest things.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, all those things that I just mentioned have me concerned.
A couple of, I think those concerns are rightfully so. The first thing I thought of is, like, how did the jobs work? Like, how are people who, like, you know, you have people who cover the NFL for, like, team specific and on the national level for both of those places, you know? So, like, how is that going to work? There's some redundancy there. I do want to read some of the additional details kind of into it. Maybe this will kind of help clear up some things. NFL Network, including both linear and digital rights, would be owned and operated by ESPN and fully integrated into ESPN's direct-to-consumer app that they're doing, their DTC, which it's not ESPN Plus. It's a new subscription for you guys. Alongside traditional pay television distribution, increasing accessibility and flexibility for consumers and promoting innovation in sports programming. I do think the distribution is good with NFL Network. It is, like, you know, in cable, it's an exclusive package. This distribution does allow it to be kind of a basic package. And also, ESPN would own the broad rights to Red Zone brand and distribute the NFL Red Zone channel to pay TV operators for continued inclusion into their sports packages. And some of the stuff that the NFL is keeping, which I think is also an interesting delineation. The NFL will continue to own and operate its retained media businesses, including properties such as NFL Films and key fan-facing platforms such as NFL Plus, NFL.com, the NFL Podcast Network, the NFL Fast Channel, and the official sites for the league's 32 clubs. It will also continue to own, operate, and produce NFL Red Zone and retain the rights to distribute NFL Red Zone digitally. In total, ESPN's platforms will license an additional 3 NFL games per season to air on NFL Network as a result of the news. In addition, ESPN will also adjust its overall NFL game schedule with 4 games, including some from overlapping windows, shifting to NFL Network, which will continue to present 7 games a season. The NFL Fantasy Football platform is also merging with ESPN Fantasy Football, creating the official fantasy season-long game of the NFL and a great digital experience as they are stroking their ego in these next few sentences. So I do think that package is interesting of how they're merging all the assets together, what NFL's keeping, what they deem to be what they need to keep, and what they can basically have ESPN have and operate in that regard. But that was the big thing for me, Matt. It was like, okay, so I think when we talked about this on Tuesday after it happened, when we were hanging out at KC Beer Co., I said, so does this mean like Ian and Schefter are now coworkers? Like, how is this all going to work? How is this all going to mesh and be together? And like, how is, anytime there's like, in the business world, when you acquire a company, there are layoffs that happen within the companies that merge together. So I'm going to be curious and interested to see how this all shakes out and how ESPN's new direct-to-consumer platform for $24.99 a month is going to go. But they've been adding a lot of stuff to it. They also added the WWE as well for starting in 2026. What I haven't figured out, does this start like for this season, correct?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
That's pretty quick. That's a quick transition of power, for lack of a better term, into all these properties there. So I'm sure it's been a deal that's been in the works for a very long time, right? We're just now hearing of it. That's how all this stuff works. But I did think that was an interesting thing that comes down. I'll be curious to see how all of it shakes out. But all right, let's wrap up with some beef of the week.
Let's do it.
I have not told you what I'm going to pick for beef of the week. So this is going to be new to you as well. Beef of the week. This one is from Sam from Indiana. There's a couple of good beef of the weeks in here, man.
All right.
I do encourage you to go pick this up, but I picked up picking Sam's because I read this one this morning and it gave me a good laugh. So here we go, Sam. Thank you for submitting it. Thank you for being from Indiana. Your beef probably should have been from your state, but nevertheless, Sam's beef is my wife has a beef with a plain black shirt that I have. The whole thing started when we were in a Target getting Starbucks. I went up to grab our coffees from the counter. When I go to grab the drinks, a younger lady is standing waiting for her coffee, compliments my plain black shirt. I said thank you and just went back to my wife with our coffees. She was upset thinking the lady was hitting on me, and I was just sad that I have a lot of cool shirts and don't get complimented on them. I feel that very much. I love a good shirt compliment. Now, since then, if I ever go to wear the shirt, she makes a face at it. I have given up the shirt to Goodwill now to end the beef, but it's funny that she had a beef with a shirt. Matt, beef with a shirt. That one gave me a good laugh.
I got to tell you, Sam, I don't think I've ever known anybody who had beef with a shirt. You're bigger man than I, Sam, giving up the shirt. I'd have worn it. I would have worn it like daily just to make a point. And I would have told her, like, I'm going back to Starbucks. Just want you to know it. I'm going back 3 times a day. Man, I got to tell you, your wife might be awesome. Sure she is.
Mm-hmm.
Might have to, big, hey, listen, you're out of hand here. Out of hand. It's a T-shirt. It's a T-shirt.
Yeah.
What's the problem here? I would have used the opportunity. I can't help it if I'm good looking. Right? What do you want from me? I'm just living my life, and then people are coming up to me. You could have played the game big. You think this is bad when I wear my yellow T-shirt People are coming up to me writing their phone numbers on it.
Yeah.
Like, but man, I gotta say that's a unique one. I have never heard somebody having a beef with a man's t-shirt.
Yeah, I will say I don't know, Sam, how long that like all of this lasted, right? But just like giving the shirt up to Goodwill, I think I might have folded a little too quick. Like I think that you should have you'd be like, oh, something's happening. You'd be like, well, don't make me put on the shirt. I'll put on the shirt.
I'll go out to the club tonight.
Don't make me do it. That's what I tell Tara. I say, don't make me put on this jersey backwards. She thinks it's the worst thing in the world. And I think it's hilarious that she's like, I'll be embarrassed if you wear a backwards jersey. And I was like, well, no.
Well, you're marrying the right woman. Yeah, I tell you right now, I've never met Tara, but I believe that in my bones. I will tell you as a funny addendum to this story is almost unbelievable. And you'll see why in a second. When I was in college? I just graduated college, but I was dating a girl who went to the same school as me. And so I went back up there all the time because she graduated the year after I did.
Yeah. And
so during this point in time, there was a bar we went out to, and I was like, hey, you need a drink? Yeah, let me go, go give me whatever. God knows what the order was. I'm like, okay. It's probably a grasshopper. She drank those things like water. Anyway, I drank one of you ever have a grasshopper?
Is it like minty chocolate? Is that what it is?
It's like vermouth. It's like mint vermouth.
Oh.
And I never had one. She's like, you got to try one. You got to try one. And I had a few drinks one night. And I was like, all right, fine. Give me the grasshopper. She's like, listen, whatever you do, don't chuck it. Like, you got to drink it slow. And I was like, oh, you're weak. And I chugged it. And I was in deep pain for about an hour.
That's fair.
Not good. I thought I was going to be puking like Kermit. But in any event, thankfully did not. But so this night, I go up to the bar, and it's a college bar, and it's a Thirsty Thursday. So there's 8 billion people waiting for one poor bartender to get them their drink.
Right. Yeah.
I'm standing at the bar, and I was never the a-hole. Like I would just stand there and wait my turn, hang out.
Right.
It's just some girl starts comes up and just starts talking to me, and I'm a guy. Like I never think I'm being hit on. Like in my head, I'm like, right. Look at me, right? Like I look the exact same, except my hair went to here back then. Okay. And I'm just talking to her or whatever. And, we're sitting there, and then the bartender kind of makes her way over to us. And then this girl's like, oh, you want to buy me a drink? And so I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, wow, really? You have interest in me? I'm sorry to hear that you lost your eyesight, but okay. So I was like, oh, listen, I'd love to, but my girlfriend's over there, and I've been dating her for a long time and pretty committed to her. And she was super cool. She's like, oh, that's cool, no problem. Have a nice night. Okay.
Yeah.
I get back to my girlfriend, and she's like, I won't repeat the language she used, but she's like, who's that person you were talking to? I was like, I have no idea, but she wanted a drink, and I told her I can't because I have a girlfriend. Here's your drink, by the way. Yeah. And I'm thinking that's the end of it.
You did the right thing. So it should be the end of
it.
Right.
And my girlfriend, who was probably about 5 grasshoppers in at that point, was like, I'm going to go confront her and kick her ass. I was like, you're not, because she did nothing wrong.
Right.
And also let's just enjoy Thursday night. What are you doing? No. I'm gonna go beat her ass. No, you're not. I am leaving if you do this. I am not getting involved in this. I'm not having the police department show up here. And long story short, cooler heads prevailed.
Good.
To the bar. But the point I bring this up to say, Sam, sometimes you just got to feel, you just got to walk out of there feeling good about who you are. And, say, look, you know what? If someone's willing, if they are hitting on me, get great. A little confidence boost. And you did nothing wrong. You can't feel bad about that. So I say you go back to Goodwill, you get the shirt. Or if it's gone, you go order 10 of them on Amazon.
That's true. If it's a plain black shirt, you probably know what brand of shirt it was. Yeah, and you can be like, oh yeah, I'll go grab that Hanes beefy tee.
Yes. It comes in a 5-pack.
Right. Yes.
Grab
another one and don't tell her. And then just put it on and be like, wait, what are you talking about?
And then put on another one the next day. And she's like, didn't you just wear out your big? Nah, it's just one of 5. Don't let her bully you. Don't let her do it.
Yeah. And that's marriage. That's that marriage show here with on KC Sports.
By the way, I
Network.
did not marry that girl. I had to point that out. I actually thought about it. Like, I went as far as to look for a ring for her. I was with her for like 4 years.
Well, yeah.
And my best friend, one of the reasons my best friend literally threw himself in front of me at the jeweler and was like, "You cannot marry that girl." I was like, what do you mean? He's like, "She's a nightmare. You cannot marry that girl." And I remember being like, "She's got a point." and that was it. We broke up. Like, I went from, I was like 23. I'm like, "Yeah, right. It's probably a terrible idea."
Yeah.
So shout out to my buddy Mike for saving my life.
Shout out, Mike.
Yeah, but that was a good time. That was good. He was actually there that he probably knew. He was like, "No, you can't." I saw what happened at the Sting. You can't.
That was the time, and he was like, "I've got to make sure this does not happen."
Like, this can only go so far.
Right. All right. That's gonna do it for this week's or this Friday edition of That Football Show. We'll be back on Monday. The Chiefs will have technically played a football game since then, and we will talk about it. Yes, technically we will talk about it, and technically we will be back on Monday to talk about it as well. So thank you to our partners, Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond Bourbon, and the fine folks at Holiday Distillery. For Matt Verderame, I'm Tucker Franklin. Make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button for good injury luck. Subscribe to become a ball knower, and we'll be back on Monday. We'll see you then.